Some cars are remembered because they were fast. Others because they changed the world. But there are machines that slip through time like forgotten promises, blending beauty, ambition, and tragedy into a single silhouette. Their stories are not about dominance on the road, but about the chase for perfection that came just a heartbeat too early. These are the cars that remind us that vision alone is not enough. Timing, context, and daring matter just as much. Today, we revisit one of those rare creations, a car that looked like it came from another planet but was built for the real world. A car that should have defined a decade yet quietly disappeared. If you think you know what Italian passion on four wheels looks like, this one might surprise you. Stick around, hit like if you enjoy deep dives into forgotten legends, and comment which automotive story you want uncovered next. The Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 arrived like a fever dream sculpted in steel. It was a showcase of everything Italy believed it could offer the world in design, speed, and soul. Born from a concept unveiled at the Montreal Expo in 1967, the car carried the optimism of the jet age and the artistry of post-war Italian craftsmanship. By the time it reached production in 1971, the Montreal had transformed from showpiece to reality, with Alfa Romeo adapting its race-bred engineering into something meant for the open road. At first glance, the Montreal was breathtaking. Its low stance, louvered headlamp covers, and the subtle cutout in the C-pillar gave it a personality that was both futuristic and unmistakably Italian. Under the hood lived a 2.6-liter V8 derived from Alfa's 33 Straydale race car. It was exotic in every sense, delivering around 200 horsepower at a time when most sports cars were still experimenting with smaller, simpler engines. Yet this was not a car about numbers. The Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 represented confidence. It was Italy's declaration that its flair for style could coexist with high-performance engineering. To understand why it matters, we have to step back into the early 1970s, when the world was shifting gears faster than any automaker could keep up. Europe was riding the wave of optimism that followed decades of rebuilding. Car culture was booming, with every nation vying to build something that captured attention not just at home but across the Atlantic. For Alfa Romeo, the Montreal was supposed to be the crown jewel, sitting between its accessible sedans and its racing machines. But ambition came at a price. The decision to use a race-derived V8 meant engineering complexity far beyond Alfa's typical road cars. The Montreal's chassis came from the proven Giulia GTV, a lightweight platform that was never intended to handle the extra weight and torque of a V8. Engineers spent months reinforcing components, altering suspension geometry, and refining cooling systems. Even so, the Montreal carried an undercurrent of tension between beauty and practicality. Every design choice seemed to serve both art and function, yet rarely did the two align perfectly. Inside, the Montreal's cabin reflected the era's obsession with futurism. The dashboard was a maze of dials, toggles, and geometric forms. The driver sat low behind a thin steering wheel facing a wall of gauges that looked like they came from a spacecraft. The seats were sculpted rather than padded, wrapped in materials that favored style over comfort. Alfa wanted owners to feel like pilots, not passengers, and for the first few thousand miles, they did. But the deeper reality began to show itself. The Montreal's engine, derived from competition use, demanded constant tuning. Its mechanical fuel injection system, advanced for its time, required precision few mechanics possessed. In hot climates, the V8 ran temperamental. In cold ones, it was reluctant to start. Maintenance was not a chore. It was a ritual. Owners who treated it like an everyday car soon learned it needed the care of a racing machine. Yet none of that dulled its appeal when it launched. The world press hailed it as one of the most striking designs of the decade. Bertone's bodywork, penned by Marcello Gandini, seemed to float between eras. The front end with its half-covered headlights and the Nocca duct on the hood were pure theater. Even parked, the Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 looked like it was moving. It was a design that stopped people in their tracks, not because of familiarity but because of its strangeness. Alfa sold the dream of Italian sophistication wrapped in a car that appeared to have no rival. But beneath that dream, reality was creeping closer. The cost of production was far higher than Alfa anticipated. Each Montreal took hours of hand assembly. The engine was complicated to build and tune. Emissions regulations were tightening. By 1973, the oil crisis hit, and suddenly, a 200-horsepower Italian Grand Tourer with a thirsty V8 seemed out of step with the times. What had been a symbol of progress now appeared indulgent. The Montreal, intended to bring Alfa into a new era, found itself anchored to an old one. The car's intended export markets, especially North America, were complicated by the same emission standards that plagued many European automakers. Alfa never managed to homologate the Montreal for US regulations, which meant the car never reached the audience that might have appreciated it most. Instead, it remained a European curiosity, a car that existed in limited numbers, loved by those who owned it but largely unseen by the wider world. For Alfa Romeo, the Montreal 1971 was not a failure so much as a casualty of timing. It was built for a world that disappeared almost overnight, when fuel efficiency replaced glamour, and regulations replaced freedom of design. Yet, even as its market vanished, its presence endured. The Montreal was still breathtaking on the street, still capable of turning heads decades later. In it, Alfa had captured a kind of spirit, one that refused to compromise, even when compromise might have saved it. The Montreal became an unintentional monument to ambition, to what happens when art outpaces reality. Its legacy was forming even before its production ended, as engineers and enthusiasts alike began to realize that they were witnessing the last of something. An era when a car could be designed entirely by passion, without corporate committees or global compliance. The Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 stood as proof that even when the world was ready to move on, beauty could remain timeless. In its time, it was misunderstood. In retrospect, it became iconic. What began as an expression of progress became a symbol of what was lost when the industry became cautious. For those who have seen one in person, there is no mistaking it. The car's lines, proportions, and the faint scent of unburned fuel speak to a philosophy that cars were more than machines. They were expressions of identity. The Montreal was not simply built to be driven. It was built to be remembered. And in that sense, it succeeded, even as its production numbers dwindled and its reputation faded from public memory. That duality, the brilliance and fragility, defines the Montreal's story more than any performance statistic ever could. The Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 was born from boldness, but that same boldness became its burden. Beneath the surface of its sculpted beauty, every decision carried trade-offs that made it a paradox of purpose. Alfa Romeo wanted to build a car that could deliver the thrill of its racing heritage while maintaining the comfort of a touring coupe. To achieve that, the company adapted the 2.6-liter V8 from the Tipo 33 race car, tuning it for civility yet retaining its high-revving character. The result was an engine that produced about 200 horsepower at 6,500 revolutions per minute, and demanded to be driven hard. In the era before digital management, this level of performance came with quirks. The Spica mechanical fuel injection system, designed to offer precise fuel metering, was complex and temperamental. Mechanics trained on twin-carb Alfas found themselves bewildered by the intricate calibration the Montreal required. When tuned perfectly, it sang like a concert violin. When slightly off, it sputtered and stumbled. This made ownership both a privilege and a challenge. Enthusiasts called it character. Skeptics called it over-engineering. The gearbox, a 5-speed ZF unit, was heavy but precise. It transmitted power with authority yet demanded respect. The clutch was firm, the pedals offset, and the steering unassisted but alive. Every journey in a Montreal required participation. It was not a car that tolerated laziness. The sound of its V8, a sharp, metallic rasp unique among Italian cars of its time, was intoxicating to those who understood it. But for many, that same intensity made it intimidating. The Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 was built to engage, not to accommodate. Its temperament reflected the company's philosophy that cars should have personality, even if that meant imperfection. That philosophy was admirable, but it clashed with the changing expectations of the 1970s automotive market. Customers wanted reliability and ease of use, not the quirks of a hand-built machine. Compounding this was the car's weight. Despite its compact size, the Montreal tipped the scales at over 3,000 pounds, partly due to its reinforced structure and extensive soundproofing. It was fast in spirit but not in acceleration. 0 to 60 took around 7 seconds, quick for its day but less than revolutionary. Rivals offered similar performance with fewer compromises. Alfa's pride in its engineering prowess became its own obstacle. The Montreal's cooling system was notoriously sensitive, requiring careful maintenance. In hot weather, the temperature gauge could climb quickly, unnerving even seasoned drivers. Many owners modified their cars with auxiliary fans or improved radiators to keep them manageable in modern conditions. The irony was inescapable. A car inspired by a race engine was being retrofitted just to survive traffic. Yet, despite these issues, the Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 delivered something few cars could replicate: a sense of theater. Starting it was an event, driving it an experience. The engine's rise through the revs, the subtle vibration through the chassis, the shifting weight under braking. All these sensations were deeply analog, deeply human. In an age before driver aids, the Montreal offered the pure dialogue between man and machine that enthusiasts now crave. Its imperfections, in hindsight, became part of its charm. But charm does not sell cars in large numbers. Alfa's distribution and service networks were limited, and spare parts were costly. Each Montreal required skilled attention that few dealerships could provide. As a result, reliability issues multiplied, and so did complaints. What was meant to be a halo product risked tarnishing the brand's reputation for approachable sportiness. The Montreal sat in an awkward position. Too complex for the average buyer, too refined for the racer, too expensive for the enthusiast who preferred simplicity. Still, the car held a magnetic allure. Owners spoke of it as an artwork that just happened to move. Its design, by Marcello Gandini, was daring even by Bertone standards. The louvered covers over the headlights were a functional flourish, retracting when the lights were switched on. The C-pillar vents, which seemed to promise mid-engine cooling, were purely decorative. The hood's central Naka duct served to cool the cabin rather than the engine. Every detail blended performance imagery with aesthetic playfulness. Critics debated whether it was form over function or genius disguised as eccentricity. Regardless, the result was unmistakably Italian, a balance of drama and delicacy that no other nation could imitate. The cabin continued that theme. The Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 greeted its driver with twin deep-set gauges and a dashboard that curved around like a cockpit. The ergonomics were questionable, but the atmosphere was immersive. Everything from the switchgear to the angled vents suggested motion. Alfa wanted the driver to feel not just like an operator, but a participant in something extraordinary. This emotional design language, so rare today, set the Montreal apart. In mechanical terms, however, its advanced features often worked against it. The fuel injection system, the complex electrical wiring, and the delicate aluminum engine components all required care that typical owners were unprepared to give. Cars neglected during their early years quickly deteriorated. By the early 1980s, many Montreals were parked, sold cheaply, or cannibalized for parts. Its reputation suffered. To the uninitiated, it became a cautionary tale. A car that promised brilliance but delivered headaches. Yet the core issue was not incompetence but misalignment. The Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 was conceived during an era of optimism and delivered during an era of restraint. The same qualities that made it magnificent, its high-revving V8, its hand-built intricacy, its exuberant styling, became liabilities in a world suddenly focused on efficiency and regulation. Had it arrived 5 years earlier or 5 years later, its fate might have been entirely different. What makes the Montreal fascinating today is not just its rarity, but its symbolism. It represents the last moment before Alfa Romeo began to pivot toward practicality. After the Montreal, the company returned to smaller, more efficient models. The dream of building a grand touring V8 machine vanished from its lineup for decades. In hindsight, that makes the Montreal an artifact of transition. A bridge between the romanticism of the 1960s and the pragmatism of the late 1970s. Its struggles were not isolated but emblematic of a wider shift in the industry. Around the world, performance cars were being tamed by economics, legislation, and consumer preference. The Montreal was caught in that crossfire, too pure and too ambitious to adapt. And yet, despite all this, those who drive one today speak of an experience unlike any other. The balance of the chassis, the linearity of its throttle response, the way the V8 gathers speed as though breathing in, it is all deeply personal. To understand the Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 is to understand passion itself. Irrational, beautiful, demanding, and unforgettable. Its engineering flaws have become badges of authenticity. Proof that it was created not by committee but by conviction. The Montreal is both a celebration and a warning. A reminder that innovation without context can be brilliance without a future. It was Alfa's moonshot, and like many moonshots, it achieved greatness not through perfection but through daring to exist at all. The Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 may have struggled in its day, but time has a way of rewriting judgment. Decades after production ceased, the car began a quiet renaissance among collectors and enthusiasts. What once seemed impractical now looked pure. What was once temperamental now felt authentic. In an era saturated with technology and homogenized design, the Montreal's analog soul found new admirers. Every surviving example became a rolling sculpture, its flaws now recast as virtues of character. Restorers began rediscovering the car's brilliance, peeling back years of misunderstanding to reveal a machine that had always been ahead of its time. The Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 embodied a philosophy now largely lost. Performance as art, design as emotion, engineering as expression. Its V8, once derided for complexity, proved remarkably durable when properly maintained. The Spica injection system, once cursed by owners, became a fascination for modern specialists who could finally calibrate it with precision unavailable in the 1970s. What used to be an obstacle became a badge of mastery among those willing to learn its intricacies. The Montreal demanded commitment, and that commitment created a bond between driver and machine that few cars can match. Its rebirth in the collector world owes much to this intimacy. The car's design, once considered eccentric, is now celebrated as visionary. Marcello Gandini's lines have aged with the kind of grace reserved for true innovation. Those louvered headlight grills that once puzzled critics now define the Montreal's visual signature. Its proportions, once unconventional, now feel timeless. Every curve and crease tells a story of an era when imagination led the design process. Even the so-called functional contradictions, the decorative vents, the impractical hood duct, have become part of the legend, reminders that beauty and logic do not always need to coexist. When the Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 appears today at concours events or classic rallies, it draws crowds not because it is perfect but because it is genuine. It represents a moment when a company dared to build something that didn't fit the mold. In that sense, the Montreal has transcended its own identity. It stands as a symbol of creative courage. Its limited production, just under 4,000 units, adds to its mystique. Unlike mass-produced icons, the Montreal's scarcity ensures every surviving car is treated with reverence. Owners speak of long restoration journeys, of sourcing rare parts, of tuning the V8 until it sings again. Each finished car becomes both a resurrection and a declaration. That craftsmanship still matters, that personality still belongs in performance. The Montreal's value has risen accordingly, but its worth extends far beyond price. To drive one today is to time travel to a period when cars reflected their makers' souls. The Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 captures a human quality, the imperfection that makes something real. It is that humanity that modern enthusiasts crave in a digital world. The driving experience remains singular. Slide into the bucket seat, twist the key, and the V8 erupts to life with a dry metallic snarl. It is not refined. It is alive. The car feels taut but not harsh, agile but not nervous. Every input carries weight. The gearbox demands patience. The brakes reward anticipation. The throttle invites bravery. This is not an experience that flatters the driver. It engages them. And that engagement is precisely what defines the Montreal's legacy. It stands apart from modern cars that isolate the driver from the mechanics of motion. In the Montreal, every vibration, every gear change, every note of the exhaust is communication. It makes no attempt to hide its effort. Instead, it celebrates it. Over time, this honesty has become rare, and rarity has become value. The Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 has found its audience among those who appreciate connection over convenience. Its re-emergence has even influenced the way enthusiasts talk about classic cars. It shifted perceptions about what defines greatness. A car need not have been successful in its day to become significant. What matters is integrity of design and depth of character. The Montreal has both in abundance. Its survival story also mirrors Alfa Romeo's own. The company weathered decades of transformation, shifting from artisan engineering to industrial production. Yet the Montreal remains a touchstone of its identity. It represents the fearless side of Alfa, the willingness to innovate, even when the market might not be ready. That spirit continues to inspire designers and engineers who see in the Montreal a reminder that progress sometimes means daring to misstep. As restoration technology advances, many Montreals are being restored to better-than-new condition, and enthusiasts are discovering just how capable the car really was. Period testing understated its performance due to lack of understanding. Properly tuned, the Montreal delivers smooth, balanced power and agile handling that belies its age. Modern tires and improved cooling systems allow it to perform at levels early reviewers never experienced. What once felt flawed now feels enlightened. The Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 thus completes its transformation from misunderstood prototype to masterpiece of ambition. Its journey proves that time is the ultimate judge of design. Trends fade, reputations shift, but integrity endures. In every line and sound of the Montreal lies a reminder of what happens when creativity refuses to compromise. It invites reflection on how the industry might look if more companies valued art as much as efficiency. For the driver, it offers a rare privilege: to experience motion not as transportation but as emotion. To many, that is what defines a true classic. And in that sense, the Montreal has finally achieved what it was meant to be. Not just Italy's forgotten dream, but one of its most enduring ones. The Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 stands today as more than a rare collectible. It is a story about ambition, timing, and rediscovery. It began as a dream of global success, a car built to showcase Italian innovation, and ended as a misunderstood marvel trapped between eras. Yet time, patient and impartial, revealed its real purpose. The Montreal was never meant to chase trends. It was meant to preserve emotion in an industry learning to suppress it. Its revival proves that passion, though delayed, never disappears. When enthusiasts restore a Montreal, they are not just reviving a machine. They are reviving a moment in history when design and engineering were driven by heart as much as intellect. The Alfa Romeo Montreal 1971 teaches us that beauty need not be perfect to endure. That character, not compliance, defines legacy. It reminds drivers that some cars speak not through statistics but through sensation. The hiss of its intake, the hum of its V8, the way its mirrors tremble at idle. All of it tells a story of human creativity at its most daring. As the world rushes toward automation and silence, the Montreal whispers back from another time. That driving can still be art, that imperfection can still be inspiration, and that a dream once overlooked can still become eternal.